Everybody, welcome to tonight's webinar, Grants, Loans, and Scholarships, Free Money, and it's true with Chris Johnson. Chris, we go way back with Chris. I know we've known you probably more than a decade, and probably more than that we know of in the same circles. I don't know, it's unreal. You'll see a lot of the different things Chris talks about. We have a lot of students like yourselves, a lot of you in the room here that went to the summit and are running a business, maybe have kids, grandkids going to school, in college, things like that. They're getting money. Chris will talk more about that. So such a cool topic. It's there. There's money there, out there. Clearly, we know money's out there by the trillions. Okay, so you guys all know we talked about this during the summit, but take a look at our YouTube channel. We put it on there. You've all been to the summit, all of our different instructors. We mentioned briefly the August event coming up. That's actually filling up pretty fast. So a lot of you have some time in the summer, which I love, to learn some good stuff. We didn't get a lot of time to talk about our Phoenix event. This is our one live event we're doing this year. So if you want to come see us in person, come to Phoenix, October 10th, 11th, and 12th. And you know, of course, because it is live and it's not just Zoom, we can't Zoom electronically out to you. We actually do have a cost on that one at $99 a person. And that's just because we have all the dang printing materials and the hotel, everything there that we do have to pay for. It's pretty nominal though. But if you want to come see us in person, rub some shoulders and network, it's kind of fun. If you're getting tired of Zoom, come on down. We'd love to have you. That's available online. Chris, you know, we always do a disclaimer, and our disclaimer is, of course, that we're not giving specific legal investment tax advice on these webinars, just because you need to seek out your own competent experts like Chris. Chris, seriously, one of our favorite topics. Again, I'll say it over and over because people are, in fact, getting money for their business, for their real estate, and gosh, right now, especially where there's a lot of inflation or recession fears, bear market, things like that. What better time than to start that side hustle if you haven't done it yet? Because I know we don't like recessions, we don't like bear markets, but I'm telling you, millions are made during recessions. This is when wealth is created, and there's opportunity beyond opportunity right now. So, Chris, I'll let you get into it. There's some free money out there for some of the students online. Take some notes because Chris goes, as fast as usual, I'm sure.
Awesome. I'll get started to pull up my slideshow here, and
yeah.
I think I've got one somewhere around here. Where is it?
I know you've got one. In fact, I've seen one from you before, I think.
There it is. Awesome. Good.
Okay. Thanks, Chris. We appreciate you.
Picture you done. Okay, so we'll do Q&A at the end, Kendall, so don't hang up on me here. Just hang out there for a bit. I'll go quick, you guys. As Kendall mentioned, this is a great topic and something that you need to hear about. And there's basically only two things a person needs to learn and understand to get a grant. And everyone on here does qualify for some type of funding. The key is what? And I know a lot of people watching right now are entrepreneurs. They've got a business. A lot of people have a kid going off to college. Some people are doing some deals in real estate, other areas too, or more than one of those. It could be all three of those. In fact, we have many clients of ours who are doing all three of those areas, and we're getting funding in all areas as well. So grab some note paper if you haven't got it. Take really good notes. I'll be giving you a lot of websites and links and things you want to make note of here. My advice is don't go and check those links out as we're going, because it might disconnect you from this webinar. Just write them down for now, and you can visit them later. I won't give you so many that you can't write, just enough that you can actually take good, copious notes. And something when we're done. And like Kendall mentioned, when we're done here, we'll have some Q&A time for you as well. But this is really key information. And these government grants have been around for 100 years. They were initially to make more money available easier for people to start a business, because as the U.S. moved from an agriculture-based economy to more industrial, they needed to get people hired and working. This is a century plus ago, maybe 140 years ago now. They created basically government-backed loans. It morphed into a lot of grants, and ultimately creating a housing sector by putting people into homes easier. And so making more money available easier at lower costs, initially loans and outright grants, and of course getting the population educated. This is all why they have done it. And it's just been growing for decades. Now, everyone's heard of government grants in my experience, but most people don't understand the process. And it's not that complicated, other than there's so many sources you can look at. There's federal sources, and there are hundreds of sources federally, as well as the state sources, as well as county and city, but there's also private sector too. We're going to talk about that as well. And, Kendall mentioned side hustle, right? And just to kind of touch on what he mentioned also about the 3-day event in Phoenix, if you can possibly go, I recommend it, because while the online is great, it's convenient, you can go to your own kitchen, make your own cup of coffee, and sit there and watch the guys online here. There's nothing that can compare to the in-person immersive experience of being there live. And as you know, from the 3 days you just attended, there's so much information probably swirling in your head right now. It really does absorb much faster and easier, and it sticks better if you're there in person. You can actually meet and talk to all of us instructors, get your questions answered. There's personal time, lots of personal time with you one-on-one as well to get your questions answered. It's a fantastic event to be part of. And I actually, frankly, miss them from this 2 years of pandemic that we've been involved in so far, 2+ years, I should say, everyone moving online. It's just fun to be able to get together again and see friends and network with people as well. But people ask me, so Chris, what makes you the grant expert anyway? I've got a side hustle of my own, and I'm not sure if it's grant teaching or if it's my real estate. Originally I was a real estate investor, and I had heard about government grants back then. And I, wanted to find out more. It was hard to get information because really no one really could tell me how to do it. So I began to learn this on my own. I began to make literally, I think it was probably thousands of calls, if not hundreds, to different agencies to find out about different programs that were out there that I was eligible for as a real estate investor, entrepreneur, and a lot of dead ends, a lot of, run around. But eventually I did find some actual programs that I could apply for and get this free money I could use for my real estate investing. And it was a lot of work initially. There wasn't really a class I could go to or someone I could hire to help me. I just figured it out. And I got good enough, I got plenty of money doing this, that people began to take notice. I had all this extra money. They said, Chris, can you maybe show us how to get this grant money? And, in that moment, my grant research business was born. I began to get people hiring me to help them get money for their own deals. And so now I've got the real estate investing I'm doing, as well as the grant research I'm doing on both kind of things here. So one of these two is my side hustle, I guess, but I'm doing both of them quite actively. So I guess they're both my full-time deal. But, whatever it is that you do, it's always good to have multiple sources of income, multiple sources of revenue, especially in today's topsy-turvy economy. You see the stock market going down. If you're part of Mike and Stacy's program, that's not going to affect you. If you use their strategies, their techniques, whether it's going up, down, or sideways, you're making money. That's great. But a lot of people, they find that, they have jobs get cut back when the economy crashes, and layoffs can start to happen, or real estate goes bad for whatever reason. Maybe real estate, the bubble bursts and real estate prices drop, as we saw in 2008 and 9. So it's good to have a lot of different ways to make money, as it were. So that's fantastic. Now, if you are lacking funding to get other businesses going, I'm going to show you how to get that here tonight. But ultimately, it was 20 years ago I became this grant expert alongside of my real estate investing. And if you fast forward over the last 2 decades, we've helped literally tens of thousands of people to learn this information and do this and apply successfully to get government grants from all levels of government. Multiple millions of dollars have been received by my clients, have been featured on television, radio, and some of the biggest conferences in America, 10, 20,000 people to teach their attendees how to get this money as well. So I'm applauding you for hanging out here with me for the next 45 minutes or an hour or so. And we'll do the Q&A at the end and make sure we get your questions answered. And if some of you are looking for extra help once we're done, ways I could actually help you to get grants, we'll talk about that too. Well, let's get started and go through this presentation. Now, basically, the money that's out there is for all kinds of things, from starting or growing a business, which includes training of employees, yourself, paying for equipment, supplies, all kinds of things. So business is a big area. Also, other areas include, like we mentioned, educational scholarships. So grants, scholarships from university or college. This could be really saving a lot of money for the students. We hear all this talk about student loan debts nowadays because it's so expensive to get an education. My clients simply don't pay because I show them how to get a free scholarship to pay for it. And sometimes irregardless of grades as well. It could be just interests you might happen to have can get you into a certain school. Real estate investors, grants are a big part of your real estate investing needs because you can cover off a lot of those upgrades and improvements to save your investment costs to make your deals more profitable. And also, you could be a nonprofit. I mean, there's money for all kinds of areas, including these and more. Now, currently, there's over 7,000 programs federally, over 18,000 state programs. I think there's a zero missing there. 6,000 county, 80,000 city programs. That's a lot. And as you think about this, there's not just the government sources, there's also the private sector, which is private foundational grants, 1.5 million of those, 2.7 million scholarship programs in total. So as you add it all up, the private sector, the foundations, private business and industry that offers scholarships and grants, there's all kinds of money, not just within the government, but everywhere. And we're going to tap into all of it. So here's a few examples of what getting grants looks like, just to kind of give you a sense. I'm going to show you a few case studies here tonight to give you a sense of what it actually looks like to get money. Here's Rob and Alicia, real estate investors. They came to me for help because they actually hired me to do some research for them. And I went to the city where the house was located, did the application with them, and found out in about 3 weeks that they were approved for the maximum grant, which is $10,000. Now, when you get approved, you receive a letter. It comes by snail mail or email. And basically 3 things happen. 1, you get the letter. When you're approved, 2, you get the check. And when that happens, 3, everyone smiles and gets a lot happier, right? It's called free money for a reason, because in grant monies, you don't have to pay it back. We're going to talk more about that in a second. They might say, Chris, well, $10,000, is that the best that we can hope to ever get? Are you showing us your best example in all of your history of helping people? Actually, no. I'm on purpose showing you a low example of a below average grant recipient. In fact, I've kept track for 20 years of people who've reported back to me how much grant money they receive. And my average client over 20 years tells me they receive over $20,000 on their very first grant application, which is pretty cool. So Rob and Alicia here are about half of my average client. Now here's somebody who's above average. Here's Maritza. She's launching a brand new business. And in 3 weeks for her, she got $30,000. So that's about $10,000 above the average client. This is the very first application that people make is $20,000 on average. It's pretty cool. Now, launching a brand new business to get some non-repayable grant money, that is fantastic when you think about that. Now, here's Sarah. Now, she didn't quit at 1 grant application. She actually sent in a total of 5, and all 5 got approved. She's actually holding up 2 of the 5 checks there because, heck, 2 hands, you can only hold up 2 checks, right? And so she's quite happy indeed. I understand she can hold up 5 if she really tried to, but she's showing us 2 there. That's pretty interesting. So what exactly is free money? Well, free money is a term you don't want to use, by the way. When you speak to an official government agency that offers funding, use proper terms like funding or incentives or grants or loans. Don't use free money. Free money is a very loose term. It's not an official term you'd ever get recognized. And so when you hear the government doesn't give away free money, they don't. They give away grants, they give away loans, they give away scholarships. There's all kinds of types of funding. And those include grants, which is money given to you, it's non-repayable, non-taxable. Loans, it is repayable in almost every case, but typically easier to get through the government than conventional bank loans. See, conventional bank loans, they really want to mitigate or reduce their risk. So you have to have high qualifications, you have to have a good job, good salary, good credit, you understand that. With the government, they back the loan. Now, they still want to see that you've got some credit, but it's not as stringent or strong as a typical bank because the government backs a loan. They make loans easier to get for more people at lower rates, and some loans actually are forgivable, meaning they convert into grants after some time passes. These are common in real estate, education, and other areas too. Now, subsidies are where you pay part of the money yourself. So you're launching a business, going to school, whatever it might be. You can get subsidized expenses. And so the government kicks in part of it. So a subsidy for your employees would be a wage subsidy or a training subsidy. It could be where you pay half the wages and then of course the government pays the other half for you. This covers all kinds of areas in real estate, rental subsidies. There are many that exist out there. In fact, I've got one tenant right now. She's a single mom with 2 kids, and she's struggling because she's getting part-time shifts at her job, and just a variety of reasons. I mean, it's tough, to pay all the bills as a single parent in the best of times, right? So there's actually 3 different subsidies where she happens to live. I've actually put her in touch with. So why is that good for me? Am I being charitable to help my tenant? Well, I feel good helping somebody out, a single mom who's in need. Definitely, I don't feel bad about that. I feel good about that. But as a owner of the apartment that she's renting from me, I'm getting my rent collected more on time because she can now afford to pay the rent. You see how that works for you being the property owner as well with your tenant. So there's all kinds of things that are out there that you can take advantage of, including the grants, the loans, the subsidies, the scholarships, and more. Now, what is holding you back? Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing this all the time, every month, all year long? Well, people don't know where to get started. They go online, they look for some information on grants, and they find that it's a very confusing landscape. There's a bazillion websites out there that some are misleading, some are confusing, and it's just kind of a big rabbit hole you go down and get lost in. And then once you find the perfect grant program, then comes the application process. And so the two things you need to figure out are, number one, how to find that perfect grant, and number two, how to complete the application form properly. You see, application forms, people often get so excited they find a grant that they're eligible for, and they grab the application form, they start filling it out, sending in. They don't read the instructions carefully. They don't realize there's a deadline. They might miss a deadline, or they don't ask for the proper amount of money. They might say, asked for between 25 and 35,000. They ask for 45,000. They are in the reject pile because they're not even within their range. And so they won't even get considered, or you might leave off some important information off your application form. The good news, every application form has detailed instructions, and you should, of course, in fact, read and follow those instructions. Obviously, it sounds pretty obvious now, doesn't it? But people, trust me, they skip it. And if you can read and understand the instructions, follow them carefully, you will be successful as long as you are eligible. Application form is done properly, submitted on time. That's when the money arrives. Now, it's not going to arrive in a big dump truck in the back of your driveway there. It's going to come by forms of checks or direct deposits, which is how normal money gets sent nowadays, of course. And it's pretty exciting because this is money that you can use for those different reasons. Now, let me give you some starting points where you can actually begin to search for and find these grants. Now, the first one is sam.gov. This is not the one-stop shop grant place. This is a big website which amalgamates 10 different federal agencies. It stands for the System for Award Management, awarding grants amongst other things, government contracts, government grants, all kinds of things. And when you go to sam.gov, basically you're going to pull it up and you're going to click on that second tab from the left. It says search, where you're doing is searching now. And it's going to pull up a search bar once you click that. And the search bar is where you can type in what you're looking for. So think of it as Googling for grants. It's not google.com. I mean, Google actually works, by the way, but sam.gov is actually looking through the government database. Let's say you're looking for business funding, click search, boom, there is your results. Now you can refine your search on the left-hand side over there. As you go down there, looking for beneficiaries, applicant, etc. We're not going to get into all that detail right now, but it's not that difficult. It really makes a lot of sense. Another website for you, there's actually hundreds of sources that you can go to federal here. The second one is benefits.gov. Now, benefits.gov is more of a survey. They ask you questions like, how old are you and where do you live? And based upon a bunch of questions they're going to ask you, in real time, in the background, it is cranking away. It is searching for programs based upon your answers it feels that you are eligible for. Click the start button. First question, what's your birth date? You answer the birth date and it gives you results. Now you might have a few dozen or a few hundred after about 45 minutes of answering these questions. And as you answer the questions, it's going to give you a progress bar along the bottom of the page there. And when you're done, below, you can have all your answers. Now you might find some programs that sound interesting, others don't sound nearly as interesting. They're all given a name. And of course, that's what we're going to focus on first. So make your short list from that long list of results by focusing on these three things: the name, the purpose, and the program eligibility. Now, because some of those programs, it might turn out that you actually aren't eligible for them. You're not allowed to apply for them. Like, for example, if it says seniors can apply and you just had your 21st birthday, don't try to trick the deal. They're gonna double check that you actually are a senior. Or it might say for veterans, right? If you never spent a day in the military, there's probably a law against that, right? So don't try to pretend you're not who you actually are. So eligibility is important to pay attention to, but start with a name. It gives you a good idea of what the program does based upon how it's named. If it sounds interesting for you, And so, for example, if you're looking for energy upgrades for your home, and you come across a program called the Residential Weatherization Assistance Program, that sounds like it might be what you're looking for. Click that link, open it up, and that's when you read up the purpose. And the purpose, what that actually is why the government created it in the first place. What problem are they trying to solve? So the government doesn't just give away money willy-nilly because they like to and want to. Well, actually, that's not true. They actually do a lot of that. But these programs are created for the most part to solve problems. That's the main reason these grants exist, is to solve problems in the country. And if you can help to solve the government's problem, i.e. there's a program for hiring, for example. Let's say there's an area that's got high unemployment, and you've got a business in the area, and you need to hire people. And so you want to apply to a grant for wage subsidies, for example. And so it's going to say to create jobs and employment in your town. And why this is important to you is because when you're answering the question as to why you're applying for a grant, you want to make sure that you're clearly demonstrating in your answer that you're doing exactly what the program was intended to do. So you might say in your answer, why I'm applying for a grant is because I'm creating jobs and employment in my town by hiring 2 full-time employees. And when they read that your answer, the verbiage is very closely matching the purpose. You don't have to use the whole paragraph, just pick those key few phrases out of there. Make sure you're being honest and truthful, of course. But if you do that, they can see that you're clearly using the program as it was intended to be used, and you're going to much more likely be approved for the funding. Now, eligibility, it might say entrepreneurs can apply. It might say residents of Nevada can apply. It might say students can apply. It might say seniors can apply, veterans can apply, minorities. There's going to have all kinds of different descriptions in there. Just make sure you are what it says can apply. And when you do, then you are successful. So that is the name, the purpose, the eligibility. Let me show you a few examples of this to kind of get your brain around this. And that way we can move forward and go really dive into some real estate specific, education specific, and business specific funding programs, and go through some other fun stuff as well. Now, the Small Business Innovation Grant Program, this program, that's the name of the program. The purpose is to stimulate business innovation. So if you just have a coffee shop or a donut shop, that's not really that innovative. Now, maybe back in the day, Starbucks was a bit innovative, but coffee's been around for centuries, right? And so it's not that big of a newfangled idea. But let's say you've got a really innovative idea that's going to really dramatically improve people's lives, and therefore you might be able to apply for this particular program. So stimulate business innovation is what this program does. And if you are 51% owned by a resident or a citizen of the US, you are eligible. So, hey, most of us, can qualify for this program here, just the fact that we live here in America, right? So with that being said, that is what makes you eligible by being at least 51% owned. That's a pretty cool idea. Now, next one to take a look at is for our transitioning military service members. It's called Boots to Business. It's one of hundreds of programs for military and veterans, is to help transition from active service to business ownership. So maybe you want to leave the military after a great career and you want to go into owning your own business because maybe you don't want to have a job for somebody else. And so this is actually open to service members and their spouses. So not necessarily the actual service member has to do it, their spouse could do it, for example, which is pretty cool. So that's one there. Here's one for the ladies, the Women Business Ownership Program, to help women to own a business. Now, why is the government doing this? Well, it's to help women catch up in the business world to the men, I guess. Now, there are no business programs specifically for men only, but there is for women. And it's basically a big part of playing catch up to equalize the playing field. Now, you must be 51% owned by females. That means if, let's say you're a husband-wife team, for example, a lot of people on here are husband-wife teams. So just give an extra percentage point up, guys, give it to your lady. And she now has controlling interest, owns more of it than you, yes, but don't sweat it because the average grant paid out currently $75,000. So that could help in your business in a bunch of different ways. Now, we're going to dive into real estate and take a look at some real estate funding specifically. Then we're going to switch over and we're going to talk about education briefly because a lot of people on here might have a grandchild or a niece or nephew, someone they know and love and care about, or a kid going off to college. It's very important to learn about that. And then, I'm going to take about 2 or 3 minutes, if that's okay, and share with you some of the ways that I help people out when we get off this webinar. So maybe tomorrow, next week, and coming days, how I can potentially help you if you're interested in some of the things that I do to help other people to basically expand and grow their grant knowledge. Now, after that, we're going to dive into some business funding. So if you've got a business, even if your business happens to be real estate investing, you can take advantage of the real estate funding options, as well as the business funding that's out there for that real estate funding business. So we'll do that as well. Then we're going to go through some fun announcements at the end, and then the Q&A with Kendall. And of course, off you go for your evening. Now, with real estate, energy upgrades really are a big deal because the government needs to cut back on the ginormous amount of energy consumption by the houses, because as houses age and get older, and we have hotter summers and colder winters, whatever's going on where you live, houses, they burn a lot of AC in the summer and heating in the winter. And if you can make our homes, 10% more energy efficient, think about how that translates to less demand on the energy grid. I mean, look what happened. I think it was last winter or 2 winters ago? I lost track now. In Texas, the whole grid shut down for like a week or something. It was bonkers, right? And we see this happening all over the place. And so the government can reduce energy demand. It's a big thing. So I've had many clients receive, $10 or $20 or $30,000 in free money to upgrade insulation, doors, windows, even appliances, which is pretty exciting. Here's Lauren. He got the Home Energy Assistance Program and the Residential Weatherization Assistance Program. One helped with bills, one helped with upgrading his actual infrastructure of his home to make it more energy efficient, which is pretty cool. Happy guy indeed. He says he's actually telling his friends about these grants, and without my program, he wouldn't even have known about them, which is pretty cool as well. So that's kind of nice there. So down payment assistance, I was actually helping a client with this just yesterday. These are available in most states. If you haven't owned real estate in your name for at least 3 years, that's a typical amount of time in your state, you can get what's called down payment. And it's not going to buy you a house. It's not going to pay for all your 20% purchase price or whatever it is the bank is asking you for, but it's going to cover off those additional closing costs, which are basically added on to the purchase price of the house. And it can really be $5,000 or $10,000, which is a pretty typical amount, which is pretty helpful for people nowadays. Now, opportunity zones. This is something that Scott Estill, I believe, talked about in the workshop. Now, how this ties into grants, because Scott talks tax savings, I taught grants. And of course, this is a tax strategy. And of course, if you look at, you just Google, opportunity zone map, you'll find a map like this. Those blue blotches are the opportunity zones across the country, so they're everywhere, right? And what that means is in those areas, instead of paying taxes on your capital gains for your stocks or real estate, you can instead buy another house with. So pay tax on the one hand or buy another house. As long as you do some upgrades, that's where the grants come in. And of course, these areas typically have grant money available to fix those houses up as well. So it's a double benefit to you. You save taxes, you increase your real estate portfolio, and you get grant money to help cover those costs as well. That's a pretty cool area. Block grants, that's not really that interesting, so maybe we'll skip this, but basically it's federal funding paid out at the local level. Now, locally is where you apply, and you might have an economic revitalization zone or a low-income housing problem area, whatever it might be. If you know what the government's targeting funding for, you might be able to take advantage of it. What I want you to focus on is the upgrade. So Housing and Urban Development, HUD.gov, as well as the counties and the cities can offer some tremendous rehab money for if you're a fixer-upper, a fixer-flipper, even your own home. You don't necessarily have to flip it. You can just fix it up. So it's up to upgrade things like plumbing, electrical, windows, doors, etc. There's all kinds of areas. I'll show you a couple of examples. These grants cover the wide gamut from historical preservation grants to restore old historical properties to commercial units to multifamily apartments, etc. There's all kinds of areas you can get grants in, including bread and butter real estate, single family houses. Now, here is Carol. She's a doer. She's a deal maker. She's got 4 houses on the go. She's also a client of mine, and as such, she has got me to ask her to help, to call on to help her. She asked me to help her get grants. That's what I'm trying to say there. And with that being said, I did some research for her, and I found out these 4 houses were spread across 2 counties, and she's got her crew in there doing the repairs. And so I did some research. I found out each county offered a grant. And from one county, we received $9,854. In the second county, $17,493, totaling over $27,000. Carol's cost to do the upgrades, repairs, improvements, painting, flooring, doors, windows, roofing, I think she details in her letter there, cost her zero, not one thin dime. Because all of that money got covered by the free grant money from the county, making her 4 houses that much more profitable. That's $27,000 in her pocket she saved. So think about this. As a real estate investor, could you make more money and possibly do more deals? The answer is yes, you could. Here is Jerome and LaShawn. This is a couple that actually came to a class I was teaching to learn more about education funding for their daughter's university, which we did. We did do that, by the way, but they didn't think of themselves as real estate investors. And of course, I was talking real estate for a bit during the class they attended, and they weren't there for that information, but they listened carefully and they realized that, even though we've got expenses and can barely make ends meet with our mortgage and our 3 kids, we could actually still apply to a program, which they did. And within 90 days, didn't happen overnight, but within 90 days, 3 months, they was approved for $58,000, which they were able to use that to qualify for 3 mortgages on 3 different rental properties. It cost them zero out of their bank account because the $58,000 paid for all the acquisition cost. And they get the mortgages being paid off by the tenants with the rent that they're collecting, of course. In fact, it's positive cash flow. They're collecting more in rent than it's costing them to own. So they got 3 houses for free this way. The tenants are paying off the mortgages, building equity long-term. This is a great strategy for you. I recommend that. Here's Art. He's got 3 grants for his basically, these are 3 different properties, 3 fixer-uppers he's doing. Totaling over $128,000 for all 3 of those. Pretty exciting stuff there. Here's Beverly, $26,000 from housing and urban development. Got her porches fixed, her windows replaced. Pretty cool stuff when you think about this, as it adds up here. Here's the Youngs, assisted living here, of course. Great clients of Protect Wealth events, and Dawn and Kendall. $145,000 to help them to run their assisted living business and keep things going, as well as you got things established there. Pretty cool. So a lot of stuff is in real estate. Hopefully you had some ideas. This doesn't cover off everything, of course. We've got limited time on here in this webinar this evening. But let's talk about grants for education, because if you know anybody who could benefit from a free education, whether it's preschool or private school, there's grants for that. Going back to school, upgrading your skills, completing your degree or your master's or your PhD. You can get all this covered, business to engineering to various scholarships for academics or athletics. Maybe you want to go to med school. You actually put people through med school and through law school for free with our help using the many scholarships that are out there. Remember, there's over 2.7 million of these. The vast majority are in the private sector from, for example, private foundations, private business. Everywhere from Starbucks to McDonald's to Home Depot has a scholarship. People don't realize that. And so there's a huge opportunity here for you, even money to study overseas. There's no reason you should have to pay when you know how. You can apply to everything that the state has to offer, everything federally. But when you apply to your college or your university or the foundations, that's when things open up. The real key here with education is apply as many times as you can find a grant or a scholarship. And if you're doing it right with my help, you should be applying for 30 or 40. It's kind of a numbers game. It's almost like quantity here. Make sure you're doing a quality application, don't get me wrong, but the more you ask for, the more you're going to get. You might get 1,000 or 2,000 from each different program. Some people try to get it all covered in one big, gigantic scholarship. That's great when you can do it, but a lot of times it's 7 or 8 different scholarships get approved that get you the funding that you're after. Here is the Schwartzes. Now they got a $25,000 grant from the college. They also got a $5,860 grant from the federal government and $4,500 in 0% loans federally as well. So it covered everything for tuition, room, and board, which is just a nice way to have mama pay for her son there and get his education without that financial stress. At the Gloucesters here, they didn't get any government grants at all. They got a university scholarship for $138,000, and the foundation paid $80,000. So think about that. That's over $227,000 in funding approved for his son as well, which is pretty cool. Now, maybe you're somebody who's already gone to school. You've got student loan debts hanging over your head. You hear about student loan debts in the news, and will Joe Biden, do an executive order to, give everyone 10,000 discount on the student loans or not? We just don't know. And of course, there's a moratorium on some student loans. I think it's been extended until August now. And that's all great and everything. But at some point, it's a stressful deal. Rochelle, this lovely lady here, she didn't realize that there's actually 4 different ways people can get their student loans completely discharged. And so she became a client, and she learned those techniques from me. Every situation is different. Every situation is unique. But I did the research, found the 2 applications that she needed, and got both of her student loan debts wiped out. They totaled $37,000, and in 3 weeks, they were gone. Here is Sue. She came with over $100,000 in student loan debts, $109,000 to be more close to exact. And she basically said, as a result of using your materials and your one-on-one consulting, within 1 month, I located, applied for, and received $109,076 of student loan forgiveness. I didn't know I even qualified for it. Thank you. So very, very, very life-changing for you, if you can imagine that. These are things that we do and help people out a lot. So with that being said, we're going to talk about business funding in just a second here. But I first want to touch on a couple things that I do to help people out. One of them is I provide ongoing, timely information on grants, funding, business, real estate, education. I also bring to you my client success stories. It's a program I created called the Grant Locator, and it does come via newsletter, audio, CD, as well as online streaming. Yes, there are some people who like online streaming, and there are people who like audio CDs, like in their cars and stuff. So I give you both. And what it is every single month I produce a new episode. It's kind of like a podcast, but it comes in CD and online format. And I go through some business topics, real estate topics, education topics, funding programs, walk you through some websites. It's really, really helpful. I interview clients and their success stories, and let you listen to those success story interviews. I do charge a fee for this program. I do charge $79 per month plus tax and shipping. People love it. People have been subscribing to this for years. It's just awesome. And with that being said, before I'm done, there's a way that you can get a couple of these for free. So hang on for a few more minutes, and we're going to talk about how I can get a couple of these in your hands for free. You're going to love it. Now, with that being said, there's also other things I do. One of the things I get some of the best results for my clients is where they get to work with me one-on-one individually. And so they basically say, Chris, here's the kind of grant I need, and my team and I go find it for them. And you tell me what kind you want. I'll help do extensive research. I'll review your business plan, your application forms, basically every step of the way for a full entire year is what I do. Now, this one here, it costs a little bit more than the Grant Locator, of course. I am told I don't charge nearly enough for the level of service I provide, but I do charge $10,000 for that service. It is a bargain, because think about this. If you are someone who's getting $20,000 on average on your first application, and since most of my clients don't stop at one application, you're getting tens of thousands of dollars on an investment like this. That is a gift that keeps on giving right there. So with that being said, I really would encourage anybody who could possibly afford it to consider perhaps getting my consulting, because it can really help you a lot. Now, there's other things I do as well, from live class trainings to a bunch of things too, but let's dive now into the business funding, because in business, there really is a lot of funding out there. Now, it's mostly loans when you look federally. So SBA.gov, you're going to see loans, not grants. Although we've gotten some great subsidies through the SBA, they also offer some government contracting, which is kind of a neat area too. You're going to find some of the grants are available at the local level, the city, the county, even the state. And so USA.gov/business, what that does is it opens up 5 other areas federally where you can find business funding at the federal level. So Department of Agriculture is not the SBA, but the USDA does offer funding for your business, as does the Department of Commerce. And so you'll find all that there in usa.gov/business. Now, your state, your county, your city, these are some key areas that people typically overlook because people all run to the SBA, but they don't really think to look at their city, which is offered there. Some good funding can be found there. So on your city, your county, your state website, look for the word business or starting a business, or if you can't find it, go to the search bar, type that in. Look for business incentives or funding, grants and loans. You're going to find all of those different words are going to be the links you're looking for to steer you to the money at the local level. Now, your business, like I said earlier, could be a real estate investing business. I happen to have one of those. It's a great deal because we've made millions in our real estate, which is pretty exciting. You could be a non-real estate business, any kind of business. You could be brand new, existing, a home-based business. I recommend that when you're starting, because why have all that overhead cost if you don't have to have it, right? And make money online 24/7 from the comfort of your home. And you keep your costs low and your profits high. So any kind of business really is pretty cool. There's startup capital money, there's equipment money for employees. My own cousin has got a fantastic business. He's got an office, but he's got very few employees that work in his office. They're almost all remote now, which I guess is not that unique after the COVID pandemic here. A lot of people have gone remote, but when you think about that, you can really cut back costs and have a great idea there. So there's money for all kinds of areas, startup, expansion, employees, advertising, and more. Here's Jason as an example. Got $25,000 from the Local Development Authority. So this is a local grant that he learned about at my workshop I was teaching, which helped him to locate this money. He applied for it, got it, very happy indeed. Here's Brian. Now, Brian's got employees, and with my help, we applied to the wage subsidy program, and he got his wages subsidized for his employees for 78 weeks. That's about a year and a half. And it was more than half the wages at 60% of the hourly wage. It took 4 weeks for approval for Brian, and that's a big chunk of change as a business owner. Think about that. If you get employees working for you, you might want to consider these types of programs. Now, Pat here, online business, she's doing Amazon and eBay, the two gold standards of online businesses, right? And she applied, and the next day got called back from the program that was offering the funding. And within 7 days after that, she got $10,000 in her hands, which she actually used that money to buy more stuff at wholesale, which she turned right around and sold it at full retail, keeping the profit, the difference as the profits. And of course, the whole thing is profit because she get the whole $10,000 for free. So, go figure on that one. But this is a pretty cool thing here when you think about this. So hopefully you're getting some ideas as we talk about this. If you're not doing this currently, what you're doing actually is missing out, because 1 million people across the country are getting money for their business free from the government every single year. And if you're not, you are missing out. And I ask you, why not? Now, you might say, well, Chris, I didn't understand this. I didn't know about this. When I'm in a live audience, I always poll the audience. And I say, put up your hand if you've ever gotten a grant for anything at all ever in your life. The answer I always get is roughly about 30 to 50% of the people put their hand up. So this money is real. It's out there. Now, maybe you got a grant for school, like we talked about earlier, educational scholarships, for example. Why not now do it for your business? Why not now do it for your real estate deal? Chris, I didn't know there's money out there for that. Well, now you do. Let's get started and start doing it. You don't have to stop applying for funding after you graduate from college. You can keep doing it as a lifelong practice. So when you add to the the business funding here, it actually adds up to about 20 million people total who get money every single year. And so here's what I've done to make your life easy. I'm all about giving people the simple steps to make things as easy as possible. You don't have to go through all the hoops and things that I went through in the beginning. And what I've done with my team, I've got a crack team of researchers that we actually go out and we keep up to date on the latest, greatest programs that are out there for real estate, for business, for education. And I've put all this together. I've assembled it all for you in an amazing compilation of different programs that actually give you the really best programs that are out there, including the name of the person who's in charge of each program, so you can contact that person, the phone number, the email address of the funding agency, the link to determine eligibility and to download the application forms and the instructions. It's all there for you. The first program is my free money for real estate manual. This one here, I go through. Now I'm going to ship you this manual. Inside here are literally hundreds of programs for real estate investors, real estate investor wannabes, homeowners, homeowner wannabes. This is how you get the money for your real estate deals. You see, inside this program, the back cover, I'll just kind of flip it over here. Inside here, I teach you to get money to buy real estate, pay for down payments, closing costs, rehab, developing, dollar home. This is actually houses for as cheap as $1, you guys, plus the grant money to fix those houses up. First-time home buyers, it's called the Good Neighbor Program. These are teachers, police officers, firefighters, ambulance drivers, get houses for half price from HUD through a special program. For-profit, nonprofit, multifamily, state programs, much, much more. There's all kinds of information also in the audio CD where I walk you through many of the programs and tell you exactly how it's done. This program works so good, it's going to help you tremendously get the money for your real estate. Now, my free money for education program is chock full of literally thousands of sources of funding to get a free education for a loved one you happen to know. Maybe it's yourself or a kid you're sending off to college, whatever it might be. We talk about state funding, federal funding, the private sector. The audio program breaks it all down, walks you through it. It really is helpful for you in this regard. Now, my business program is for anyone who's got a business, wants to have a business, whether it's real estate or otherwise. This one is where you get the money federally or state level or locally for your business. Now, with all that being said, I jammed as many programs as I possibly could, the contact information, the details that are in here. And with all that being said, I still couldn't fit all the programs that are in there. So with my consultation service, you can access all of it, which is fantastic. Now, these programs are current, they're up to date, they're brand new. I keep them up to date all the time. Programs do change. Not a whole lot, but I want to keep it as current as possible, right? So those three manuals are the information of the programs. This fourth manual puts it all together. The simple steps in how to apply for the funding, how to find additional sources you might otherwise not be able to cover on your own. There's guides, there's checklists, there's pictures, there's the audio CD that walks you through the simple steps to apply. There's do's and don'ts when you apply. That's basically it. And I'll walk you through that. It really is a comprehensive, straightforward step-by-step guidebook of how to apply for the funding. This really is what makes my program so powerful, because it works so well, is because this program, how to actually do it, how to apply in conjunction with the actual programs and those other three manuals, is where it all comes together. So my funding system is all of these manuals, all four of them. Now, people say, Chris, what's the cost? Well, I do retail this system for $4,000. And think about that. If you're someone who's getting grant after grant after grant using my program on a $4,000 investment, if you're a typical average client, even below average at $10,000, that's still a remarkable turnaround of this investment here. But most people, they're getting 3 and 4 grants a year. I've got some clients getting 3 and 4 grants a month. I showed you that picture of Sarah earlier, 5 grants in her first month with me as a client. Fantastic. But in fact, there's a way to get a phenomenal discount off of this. And I'll tell you about that in a second, because Kendall said, Chris, these are some of our best students. They spent 3 days with us. Some of them had to invest, or didn't have to, but they invested with us in some of our trainings, etc., that we offer. Can you make a better deal? So I said, sure, I will. And I'm going to discount this so ridiculously low, you're going to fall off your chair if you're sitting down. So if you do have a seatbelt on your chair, I recommend that you strap it up, because you might be surprised when I share with you here in a second. Here's Tom. Dear Chris, thanks to your program, I was able to get $100,000 in less than 7 days. $100,000 doesn't come easily, but with the sound direction your program provided, it wasn't that difficult. That's pretty cool for Tom, right? Here's Abby, $245,000 for her to buy the building for her business. So these are clients of mine that simply opened the book, follow instructions, got a grant. Tom in 7 days, Abby took it a little bit longer. But think about this. I'll be getting success stories flooding in almost on a weekly or daily basis in some cases from people just like you. Now, these are people who've previously attended a webinar or a live conference I've taught. Now, these are all clients of mine who I've helped get grants. Now, not all of the, now I'm not showing you all of my clients who I've helped get grants. If I showed you all of my clients who I've helped get grants over the last 20 years, I think we'd be here for over an hour flipping these slides back and forth here to look at them all. But just know that these are all clients of mine I've personally helped. And I want to get your picture up here if possible. I'm not going to show you all my clients. I'll show you just a random sampling of a few of them. The reason I'm kind of flipping past here is to kind of give you a sense that this is real, this works, but I want to focus on you right now. What kind of money do you need? Is it 20,000 or 50,000 or 100,000? Let's go get it. And I know how to do it. I've been doing it for years, like these clients have already done. And it's just a matter of letting me help you to do it, or letting you help me help you do it. So, you know, whether it's business, education, real estate, it's money is out there and it's real. Think about what you need right now, and maybe, you know, write that down. And when we first start connecting, tell me what you're after so I can go find it for you. A quick summary is as follows. You know, like I said, 20 million people do this every single year for their business, for real estate, for education and training, all kinds of different areas. And if you're not, you're missing out. You've been paying taxes all these years. If you're a taxpayer and you're not taking advantage of grants right now, what's happening is other people who are applying to these grant programs are using your tax dollars to remodel their kitchen and put their kid through college. Might as well turn that around right now and do it for yourself, right? So here is my system, my grant funding system, the real estate, the education, the business, and how to apply manual. I did tell you there's a way to get this discounted, and you're going to want to find out how. Now, basically, what you want to know is that you can actually get my program, hang on to it here, for free. And I'm going to show you how right now. And I include some amazing bonuses as well. The first bonus is the Grant Locator, which I mentioned previously. This is a monthly audio CD newsletter, plus it's also online streaming that costs $79 per month, plus tax, plus shipping. That's the program. Now, with that being said, if you decide to say, Chris, yes, I want to do this. I want to get your help and I want to get some grants as quickly as possible. And you order my program here. I'm going to show you how to order it in a second. I'm going to basically give you the first 2 months of the Grant Locator for free. Free means I pay and cover that $79 for you. You don't pay that. I'll cover the taxes as well, because the tax is wiped away there when we do that. But also, if you want this, just do one small thing. To cover my cost, getting it from my office to your front door, basically cover the small shipping costs. It's only $6. So we're going to charge you $6 for the free seat. I know it sounds kind of not free, but it's to cover the $79 in tax. You pay $6 in shipping. It comes from my office to your front door. And tell you what, if you do that, I'll actually throw in a third one. This third one actually comes first because it's going to come with your course. Your 4 manuals, your 4 CDs with the main program, which I've already shown you here a second ago. I'm going to give you the first Grant Locator in that same box. It's called the Grant Maximizer. It maximizes your success rate, maximizes how much money you're going to get. Start with this one first. And this one, because I'm going to cover the shipping of that course on my side. You don't pay the shipping of the course. I'm going to cover all of that for you. You know, there's no shipping on this first Grant Locator. There's only shipping on the second and third one. What happens now? Are you locked in? Can you never cancel like a gym membership? No, you can stop getting these whenever you want. Just shoot me a quick email or give us a phone call. Say, Chris, no more Grant Locators, thanks. Just take the free ones if that's all you want. I'll still love you, but tell you what, if you want to keep on going past these 3 free ones to the 4th one and beyond, and you can still stop whenever you want to, by the way, I'm not going to charge you $79. I'm going to cut that in half and make it all inclusive. So the first one is 0 cost. Next 2 is shipping only of 6 and 6, right? And then the 4th one beyond, just a flat all-inclusive $39 a month. So just remember the number 0, 6, 6, $39 a month, and you can stop whenever you want to. That's a Grant Locator. It's awesome. You're gonna love it. You're gonna get the interviews and just timely, helpful advice. 6 topics at least I teach every single month. It is the most complete library of wealth, knowledge, of education, real estate, business ever assembled ever. It is bonkers how much you're going to get. And by the way, with that being said, and let me go back to that for a second here. That being said, the Grant Locator library, I'm going to give you the entire 10 years of these. I've got an online library of Grant Locators I've been assembling now. I think the total value is over $10,000. I'm going to include all of that for free for you. You're going to get the entire library. You're going to love that. It's pretty cool. So the next bonus is my consulting and mentoring. The consulting and mentoring, now I can't do this for everyone because you're going to be working with me. And if I open the floodgates, I won't sleep, I won't eat, I won't have time, family time. I got a newborn baby I got to help my wife with. And so I have to limit this to 20 people. And so if you're willing to say, yes, Chris, I want to do this, I'm going to keep this open for about half an hour to 45 minutes. Once we're done here in a second, if you take action tonight and say, Chris, I want to do this. Now, I'm going to include 1 year of consulting and mentoring with me for free. I don't charge you. I wipe that fee away. That $10,000 is gone. I cover that. You don't pay it. And you get me at your beck and call, like Carol did, like Robin and Alicia did, like Sue did, like all those people I showed you were able to ask me to help them to get the grants. I'll help you too. This is an incredible value for you. I'm going to do it, but I can't do it for everyone. I can't offer it forever. Once they're gone, they're gone. The first 20 people, once you take advantage of this, there will be no more spots. I'm serious. I got to stick to this because of the fact that I have to have a life, and I want to provide you the best quality service as well. Now, with all that being said, my system normally retails for $4,000. You also know I said there's a way to get this for free. How does that happen? Well, basically, how that happens is this. I've got expenses known as research assistants, people that work for me. I got to keep the lights on. I got to keep the office humming, right? And so with all that being said, I've got a certain amount of overhead expenses I have to meet and cover every single month. I've done some math. It turns out it costs me to service one client, just to provide the level of service that I do for one client. My cost is $2,497. And so with that being said, if you're willing to cover my cost of $2,497, pay that up front. In other words, help me to help you. So you're going to cover my cost to service you and take care of you and keep my staff paid and happy and keep the lights on, etc. Everything's going to be just fine here. If you're willing to do that, in exchange, once we get a first grant for you, share your success story with me. When you do that, I'm willing at that point to basically give you this money back in exchange for your success testimonial, which I can now use in my advertising and in my marketing. So I've got the write-off that I can justify there with the advertising marketing expense, so I can actually refund you that $2,497 down the road. So you pay it up front. You are now motivated because you got this money invested, and of course your goal is to get a grant, to get the grant, obviously, and grow your business, etc. But you're also going to be rewarded by getting this deposit you pay here back, and that's pretty exciting. So we're going to call it a refundable deposit, meaning you pay it today. Now, please don't ask me if you can just get the course and have me ship it to you, and then you'll send me the money later. It doesn't work that way. I need you incentivized with some skin in the game. Plus, that way I can also keep my lights turned on, my staff paid as well. That's pretty exciting. So with that being said, what you get is my consultation worth $10,000. That is free for the first 20 people who take action here. You also get the Grant Locator, like I mentioned, 3 of them. Plus, I'm going to be sending some sample application forms, the newsletters, etc. You get 3 of those. This is an incredible value. Now, the guarantee I've got for you is like this. I'm going to give you basically 7 days to change your mind. If you change your mind within 7 days, no questions asked. I will refund that for you. And beyond that, I'll give you the full entire year to get the refund in exchange for your success testimonial. So now, one thing we do exclude is COVID funding. Why? Because everyone gets COVID funding. And so we want to make this like a real grant. And so with all that being said, some people got too much COVID funding, by the way, but we want to make it a real grant for your business, for your kids' college, that kind of thing. So with all that being said, this double guarantee is amazing because of the fact that you've got to change your mind within a week. If you basically you want to get your spouse's permission, but not miss out on the 20, order it today. And then if you decide later you didn't want to get it, you get 7 days to change your mind on that, but you get a full year to get that refund in exchange for testimonial. So to order, what you want to do is go to protectwealth.com/grants. It's real simple, right? So you've already got the website protectwealth.com because you've been on there, you've probably registered for the online trainings, etc. Protectwealth.com. Just put a /grants. It's really easy. GRANTS. Go there now, and you can find a safe, secure checkout to place your order. And when you do that, you will be confirmed in those first 20 people. You get an email from me. If you don't get an email within 5 minutes or less, check your spam folder, check your junk folder. What you want to do is whitelist my email, which is the grant fund. So my name, Chris Johnson, CHRIS Johnson, JOHNSON @grantfundingexpert.org. Whitelist that. If you're not sure how to, if you're on Gmail, just go, how do I whitelist a Gmail? And it'll tell you exactly how. So with that being said, let's say that you're a person also who maybe you get paid tomorrow, Friday, and you can't put it on a card tonight, or you get paid Monday, or you want to split the balance over 2 cards. Those people are watching right now. I know who you are. I mean, sorry, I don't know who you are, but you know who you are. And if that's you, I want you to shoot an email to Kendall. Send Kendall an email, say, hey, Kendall, here's the deal. I get paid next Friday or whatever it is. I want to put half my MasterCard, half my Visa card. I got 2 Visa cards. Can you split it 60-40? His answer is yes, but you got to email him to lock in those first 20 spots, okay? Kendall and the team will work with you to get that squared away within the next 24 hours, and you'll get locked in with those first 20 people to get the consulting and mentoring. So to recap everything here, go to protectwealth.com/grants. And you know what, by the way, I'm going to do something really special here for you. Kendall said to me, Chris, can you actually do something even better for these clients? And my first answer was no, because I'm already doing a pretty good deal here. He says, well, some of them are really kind of, they kind of spot 2 or 3 different offers we made on the 3 days, and they might just not be able to quite afford this. What can you do? And so here's what I've done. I did some looking around, I did some digging, and I did find that I do have access to some grant funds that I can utilize in this aspect for you. Now, I cannot do this for everyone here. I can't do it for everyone. But if you are one of those first 20 people that does say, yes, Chris, I want to do this, here's what I can do. I can take $1,000 grant that I've got access to and apply it to your refundable deposit. In essence, what that does is it reduces your deposit you pay today by $1,000. And so if you do take action right now, and you are one of those first 20 people, I can reduce your deposit, your guaranteed refundable deposit, to only $1,497, just $1,497. That's it. That's all that you pay. That's all that you ever pay. And you get that entire thing back guaranteed. And if you're one of the first 20 people, if you take action in the next 30 minutes or so, you will get my consultation waived worth $10,000. You'll get the Grant Locator included for free for 3 months, plus the back issues of all the Grant Locators going back over a decade. We're talking an incredible resource library, over $10,000 worth of the Grant Locators that you get as a free bonus. All of that gets activated, by the way, on your 4th issue once you become a full-fledged Grant Locator member. Try the free ones out, see how you like it, and then you're going to get the entire library sent to you. I'm going to send to you all the manuals, the real estate, the education, the business, how to apply, plus the CDs. They're going to get shipped out tomorrow via FedEx by me at my cost, plus your first Grant Locator. Right away, you can start consulting with me. You're going to get a welcome email right away from me in which you can respond to and say, hey, Chris, here's the grant that I need to get. You've got 7 days to change your mind on this. You get a full year to get the full refund once you do get your grant. Most of you will probably get a grant in the next few weeks or a month or 2, but we're giving you a full year to do it, which is way more time than you need. And when you share that success story, take a smiling photo like you saw me showing some people that had their smiling photo there, holding up their checks, etc. Maybe you get 3 or 4 checks, hold them all up. Smile for the camera. Let me use that in my advertising, my marketing. I will refund the entire purchase amount you pay here today, $1,497. And that way you get the entire thing. And plus you keep the course too. You still get the consulting. The consulting doesn't stop at that point. You still keep the course. It keeps on going. It's an awesome deal. This is worth way over $20,000 when you throw in the consulting, the online issues, the course itself, but you only pay $1,497. You get that back guaranteed. Kendall, I think this offer that we're making tonight, thanks to you twisting my arm behind my back here virtually, so to speak, is going to make a lot of people happy. It's going to get a lot of people some grant monies that they need to improve their situation, their business, their real estate investments, their kids' college. If you are strapped for cash, email Kendall. He can split it into 2 payments if you need to. We don't do the consulting and mentoring in that case. You have to pay up front. No, if you split it over 2 days, that's fine. Or you split it into 2 cards, that's fine. If you delay a payment by a week, that's fine. We can handle that. But don't ask for a payment plan of $50 forever a month. We can't do it that way. Kendall, I say if people need to split into 2 payments, we can do that. We have to delay the consulting and mentoring for a month though. But email Kendall. He got his email. He'll take care of you. But for most of you, it's no big deal. Go to protectwealth.com/grants right now. Lock in that 20 spots. They're going to go quickly. They always do. Go there right now. And when you go there, securely enter your payment information. We take all forms of credit cards. And you're going to get a welcome email instantaneously in the next few minutes. Just check your inbox, check your spam, check your promotion folder. If you can't find it, email Kendall. Say, hey, Kendall, I bought the course. I never got the welcome email. What's going on? Did Chris just take my money and run? He's going to reassure you, no, he didn't. The email is just going wonky. Maybe the email got inputted incorrectly. Who knows? There's all kinds of reasons, right? So we'll take good care of you and make sure you get grants quickly. You'll get the tracking number sent to you via FedEx, and you will be getting grants before you know it. So Kendall, welcome back. Hopefully this is going to help out your clients here.
Well, no doubt. So my favorite part always is, I have personally talked to several of those students you show pictures of. I personally know from several years we've been doing this, Chris, and this, I think you just get more generous every time. I don't know how you do it, but we appreciate that. I love the fact, really, truly, that we know a lot of those students. I love talking to them on the phone. They literally call me in, hey, I work with Chris. I've got this grant. How do I do this? How do that? And I love that I've seen them personally show the checks. I've seen pictures of them. They've texted me because it works. And that's why we love working with you, Chris, because what is still, honestly, I can't think of anything else that we do. We try to offer great deals on everything we do. There's always a cost, unfortunately, legal services, taxes, but when it comes to this for free, Chris, I can't think of anything better. So we appreciate it very much. I can vouch for it. We know that it works. I've seen so many people do it. Seriously, thank you. What a generous offer, Chris.
Oh, you're welcome, Kendall. I'm glad to do it. And I know the orders are already coming in. So you guys don't sit in the fence forever here. Take action. And while we're doing the Q&A, you could basically put your order in. Order on your smartphone while you're doing the Q&A here online.
Or fast.
Open a separate tab and keep listening. I'm not sure how that works there, but you can do both. But I know you get some questions, Kendall. What kind of questions do we have here? I can potentially.
Well, I think you answered a lot of the part where I had several people asking me about, hey, can you kind of answer this? Can Chris, can you get me a grant to pay for the program? You pretty much did that right here.
Pretty much, yes. Don't get it. Don't make your plan to get a grant to cover a whole bunch of costs you've got, living expenses. Grants are specifically for a certain need. So if it's for a renovation project, it's got to go for the renovation. You can't just get a rental grant and then pay off your credit card bills that way. Now there are credit card help type funding. There is debt relief programs. There's different types of things. There's free dental care out there. There's all kinds of things you can get. People don't realize. In fact, one of the things I can give you is I think it's 101 grants for people making less than $50,000 or more than $50,000. There's more. There's all kinds of things that are out there that you can get. It's just awesome. I see a couple questions here. Ryan's got a question: are grants considered income? Are they taxed? Ryan, in almost every case, the answer is no. Is the answer to that one. Grants are non-taxable almost all cases. Tavanda, hey, welcome. I've got a question. Can you get a grant to get your master's degree or to take different certification exams? The answer is yes, Tavanda. You can do absolutely that. We do it all the time with people, and we help them to get all kinds of their advanced degrees and funding, all kinds of things taken care of. So,
we've had a lot of students do. Chris, that's probably one of the biggest ones we get from a lot of our. Well, one of the ones I've talked to personally have done a lot of college. That's fun. That's cool. Pay for your kids or grandkids' college.
Yes, for sure. Peter says, are you saying the 1497 is only refunded if you get a grant? If you don't get one, you don't get the money back? Yes. Here's what I don't want people to do, Peter. I don't want you to take the program, go home and find a nice clean shelf to put on top of and ignore the program. And if you do use the program, if you do apply like I teach you, use my consulting, you will get a grant. I see people who either just maybe are too lazy or life gets in the way for whatever reason. Those are the ones who don't even bother applying. We don't want to do a refund in that case. But if you are actively applying, there are so many grants out there, you'll get a grant. So I want your success story. I need your success story in order to justify that write-off expense to give you that refund. So it kind of works that way. But good question though. Awesome. So yes.
I think people don't realize there's so many things out there you can get. So many, guys, and you guys know this. Last couple of days, there are so many opportunities and programs out there. You just got to apply. And we see that every time, Chris. You are absolutely right. You just have to take the program and do it. Now, if it's not something exactly what you wanted, well, just flip to the next section. You help them find it, Chris, you're consulting.
Yeah.
You'll find it. There's money out there.
This house we're in right now, not these windows here, but the windows over that way. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Windows over there cost me $18,000 for all, like it's the whole south-facing side of the house. They're 20-year-old windows almost. Some have lost their seal, and a lot of them UVA wasn't that great to begin with. UV protection, I should say. And so much of that 18 grand is being recouped on rebates. And so maybe you've got an old furnace or AC unit or old, busted out windows or, seals are gone. Do some simple upgrades, you can get a grant, and bingo, you get the refund here. So whatever it is that you do, there's all kinds of there. Maybe it's just maybe you get $1,000 for your kids, scholarship for school, or Tavana, you get something to go back to school with. Share a success story with me. We'll get you the refund there. It's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of small business owners and real estate investors in this group too, Chris. So I know over the years too, we've had several that have got some for real estate. Like we even talked about residential assisted living. There are certain niches out there you can find just like that there might be opportunities for, and we have found several. And I like the rehab stuff too. Like you're going to find some rehab, repair this old house kind of style stuff, fix up old stuff, maybe more energy efficient, like you say. Yeah, we found several that have done that. It's kind of fun.
Perfect. Yeah. Hey guys, great questions. Not a lot of questions here tonight. I guess I ever explained. I'm not sure what happened. People are tired of listening to me talk, tired of looking at both of us. I'm not sure what it is.
Probably it.
Or they know I've got a newborn, and my wife's probably like wondering what the heck I'm doing. So
yeah. Well, I think a lot of this on the call, they really do invest. They are business owners, and so a lot of them already are in the game. And now it's just time to find the money available for more of the game. Or I did talk to several during the week that honestly they want to start a side hustle, like we talked about, and there's so many opportunities that we talked about, especially right now. Where people are kind of like, I'm not sure where to go. Well, get some money to do it.
Yes. David asked a great question, and it's basically what percentage of people are getting the grants? It is high. And, I'm shocked at how many people are constantly applying. Like we get some days we get 2 or 3 people applying, they get a grant. I've been walking through an airport, and people walk up to me and say, hey, you're Chris Johnson. I go, yes. They said, I used your program. I got a grant last year or 2 years ago or 5 years ago. It's just bonkers. It's wild. And so, yeah, it is great. The people some people do have unrealistic expectations. They want to, one guy came to a class I was teaching. he wanted the government to basically pay for an entire town to be built. That he could set up and be his own mayor of and live off the grid and isolate from the rest of the world. I'm like,
Okay.
we have to be like rational here and
Yeah.
think about things that are realistic. And so, you got to keep it kind of real and make sure you're applying to programs you actually are eligible for. If you check the eligibility carefully, go through some of the things I teach you in the Grant Maximizer CD on how to get your grant application looked at first, front of the line, so to speak. I had one client who they didn't trust the mail to get it there before the deadline, so they hand delivered it in person. It was a city application, and they said because they hand delivered it, they were able to better explain to the person who is taking it from over the counter what they were doing. And that one little step got the funders to look at their application ahead of everyone else's. They got the funding. And there's all kinds of examples there like that. So, just you'll find a lot of little tips there that will help you to get your grants approved quickly. So, but the consulting with me, the one-on-one is going to go a long, long way. So you guys, make sure you go there, protectwealth.com/grants. Don't miss out. This opportunity, this extra $1,000 discount, this consulting and mentoring worth $10,000 included is just an incredible bonus for you. Plus, you've got all those other resources there for you. It's just great. Now,
you're nice to continue doing this, Chris. You got a lot more going on in your life. I can't believe you're still offering that many. That was nice of you.
Well, I didn't have to, but Kendall, you're the kind of guy that you can't say no to. You have a way about you that you smile when you ask questions. It's like,
I just don't want to get that call from Nikki saying you're too busy.
Yeah, he's over there giving me the elbow. Don't do it. And yeah. So anyway, it's interesting.
Well, we appreciate it, seriously. So a lot of the students this last week too, they're uncomfortable maybe with setting up an LLC now, or doing a corporation or trust, things like that. And we made it pretty easy for them in a lot of ways. And this is the same thing. If you're going to start something new, do something different. Don't do the same thing you've always been doing and get the same results. This is how difficult is it, Chris? I guess the question we get a lot of too. It's really not that difficult. I mean, sometimes other programs vary. I get that, but it's just doing it and applying yourself, really.
The number one question I get from people is it's easier than they thought it was. It was faster, but again, it depends on what they're doing. I mean, if you're doing a renovation project, you still have to get the contractor bids and quotes, and you have to do that research, figure out what you're actually getting done on the property and how much it's going to cost, and have that level of expertise and knowledge, which is you might get that from another person's real estate program or something like that, or maybe you're a good person as well. But with all that being said, it is a program that will pay you huge amounts of return on the small amount of time that you put into the application process.
Well, it's like anything else, though. If you're going to start something different, you've got to put the time and effort into it. It's not that much different. You need money for your business. If you're actually applying for a loan, for example, right? You got to do it anyway. It's the same thing. Yeah. And this, much better deal. Yes.
And I mean, Stephen asked a great question. Stephen, the answer is, it's almost never going to come down to a gender-based type question. It's almost always just, are you a real estate investor? Are you a homeowner? Are you a student? Are you a this? Are you, do you own your own business? Those are the kinds of questions you're going to basically come across in almost every application. So you'll find that'll help you out with that. But yeah, government does evolve slowly, but it all depends on where you live too. So
yeah, anybody can do this. Anybody. It doesn't matter where you live, what you do. Pretty much anybody can do this. That's what we found for sure.
Exactly. Awesome. All right, Kendall. I guess that's the end of the questions. We'll let people have a chance to go to the website now before these 20 spots are gone, and we'll take full advantage of what is out there. You guys, protectwealth.com/grants. I see Kendall put that into the chat box. If you just want to do a one click there, it'll take you right there. If not, you can type in protectwealth.com/grants. Not that difficult. Go there now, and then you can be one of those first 20 people. I think we're probably at least halfway to the 20 by now, Kendall. We always run out. They'll go pretty quick.
Yeah.
But don't delay.
If I have a few more, I have a few people that will email me, I know, here and there. So we'll try to get them, lock them in the next day or so.
For
But
sure. Yeah,
hopefully I don't
email
have to come
Kendall
tomorrow.
if you're having any problem, the card's declining, something's not working, you need to split up into 2 cards. He's your guy. He'll take care of you.
Grant
Awesome.
questions, don't call me because I'm not the guru on that.
Thanks, you guys.
I know somebody. Well, Chris, thank you again so much. Again, this is one of my favorites just because it really does legitimately work, guys. It really does. I'm not kidding. Don and I know a lot of those pictures. We know personally over the years, they really do work. So get one and send your picture on. I want to see it on your next slide presentation, Chris. Not kidding.
Yes, for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Chris. We appreciate it. I'll be in touch with you. And anybody have any questions, please email me, Kendall B, KENDALB @protectwealth.com. But click the link and go there now because that's going to be the fastest way to do it.
Cool.
These will go fast. Chris, thank you. Hope you're getting some sleep.
A little bit.
Congratulations.
Nikki lets me sleep, so she doesn't though. But it's fun. Yeah. Awesome.
Thanks again for your time and thanks for generosity, Chris.
Thanks. Have a great night.
Have a great night.